Gold boxing. Let's talk about this circus we cannot get enough of. Boxing, the boxing show. We're gonna talk about everything that I left off on. First off, Terrence Crawford. See, everything in boxing is like a chess move. Um, Terrence Crawford said Tank Shakur should be on his undercard, him and Canelo's. In everybody else's mind, everybody's like, why not? And everybody's like, well, Tank think he's the biggest thing out, which he is a face of boxing, but he ain't gonna want to be under Terrence Crawford, who he's beefing with. He don't want to be the undercard of that. Why not make it a split card or something like that? But anyways, everybody thought Tank was gonna be the one to not want to go along with it, but to everybody's surprise, that's why the sport of boxing is so good. It's a real life soap opera. It was Shakur that turned it down, and not a wise move. But he says him and Tank will be the biggest fight, bigger than Crawford and Canelo. It might not be, but if I was Shakur or one of his managers, I would have told him to shut up, don't say nothing. Let Tank be the one to not go along with it, so that make it look like he's copping out. But I don't think that was a good move by Shakur. Him and Tank are always seeming to dodge and duck each other. At times you think Shakur want to fight, but then him and Tank always just ducking and weaving. But I think Tank has other plans anyways. But that's enough of that. Virgil Ortiz, Oscar De La Hoya told one of the what's the correct term? One of his interviewers that he's trying to bring Virgil Ortiz a welcome home little party in Texas by fighting Errol Spence Jr. Nobody's really said nothing. It hasn't came to fruition, but there's so many people at that weight class. Like, that weight class is the new 147 pound weight class. Remember, 147 weight class was popping. Didn't Floyd leave it popping? Well, it's now the 154 weight class, and it's got so many people in that weight class that can make great fights. But why in the world you want to fight Errol Spence Jr.? Earl is my boy, but ever since Terrence Crawford fight, I don't know if Earl knows if he's coming or going. And to be honest, his boy just got caught up in all that. His boy just got locked up, Yellow Beezy. So I'm sure his mind ain't all the way there anyways. It's just not a good move. And there's a guy with the belt, I can't think of his name, that's been calling Virgil Ortiz out. And Virgil will not fight, dude. And then I think De La Hoya said, he could fight Errol Spence, fight somebody else, and then wait for Terrence Crawford to come back down to 154. We don't know what Terrence Crawford gonna do next. I don't even know, if Terrence knows what he want to do after this Canelo fight. He's taking it as it comes. So Virgil Ortiz is kind of moving. He's moving. He's slithering his way. Like, I don't know. He want one of them belts to come up, like one of them belts to be given up where it just leads to him getting the belt easy. Which, why not? But it's like he's not trying to fight somebody else to get one of them belts with a name. I just and the dude can fight. He showed me he could fight last fight. Cause I was not a Virgil Ortiz believer, but the way he handled, oh man, I can't think of his name. I'm gonna call him M, the dude that fought Terrence Crawford. The way he handled him was very impressive to me. He turned up when he wanted to turn up. He calmed it down when he wanted to calm down. He studied. He got uh, data. You know, the first few rounds, like it was just smooth sailing to me. So I just don't like the way Virgil's moving. And when you're a fighter, we all know if you really want that fight, then you can talk a promoter, manager into getting what you want. Um, that's pretty much it in boxing now. Rampage has come out against Devin Haney. You know, every time a celebrity says something about Devin Haney, everybody makes big deals and said he got sunned or he got told about himself or ooh, this person's saying that. All I can say about that is Gabe is a warrior. He's pretty much known for standing up against some of the hardest fighters. He got mollywopped, but he didn't get knocked out. But he's a stand-up guy. He's a warrior. I mean, he's got his own opinions, but I don't think the committees threw Devin Haney's court case out and said a boxer can't sue another boxer for battery. So sometimes you got to sit down and listen to what these guys be actually saying. I think that's kind of made up. But at the same time, in a era we live in, nobody cares about the truth. Just like Eddie Hearn sat there and said he had no intention of making William Skull versus what's the Puerto Rican dude? Man, when I'm on the camera, I get all these brain farts. Ah man, the monster, the dude fought Canelo. I could see his face. Berlanga. You know, Eddie Hearn said he had no intentions of fighting, making Berlanga and Skull. They both wanted too much money. And Berlanga was kind of hot at Eddie Hearn because he said Eddie Hearn promised him that fight. And, you know, he can have a shot at being a belt holder and go against Canelo again, which we didn't want to see the first place. And he was going to try it again if he would have beat Skull. I do believe Berlanga. But in the business of boxing, you go with what makes the most money. So Eddie Hearn gave Skull to Canelo, which would eventually give Canelo a chance to fight Crawford as undisputed. It's just business. But Eddie Hearn made Berlanga look like a fool with all that good talking, all that little slick talking he be doing, and now everybody was siding with Eddie, you know, saying like, Berlanga, you need to be happy. This is the most money you ever made. Eddie made you that money. He might have did, but Berlanga was going on his word. So it's the same with all these stars coming out against Devin. Really listen to the things they be saying. You're a warrior, but you don't think it's wise for Devin to face somebody that can actually fight. So you want him to do like all the other boxers and just fight bums. It's kind of weird, but anyways, Gabe, you know, could say whatever he want. I see both sides. Then we have Rampage Jackson. All I can say about that is Ryan Garcia and Tio Fimo, you know, they people, the Migos know what they doing is wrong, but the Migos run boxing as far as the majority watching and stuff. And they're not gonna say nothing bad about T.O. and Ryan. They know. But they hold them down. It don't matter what you think of Devin Haney. First, get your facts straight. It's not right to cheat somebody. And when Devin Haney to me said he was gonna sue Ryan, I'm like, don't be talking. Make sure you do it. That's how I felt. But when he was actually doing it, that told me he had enough evidence and proof that Ryan actually cheated. But everybody took that as him being soft. That's the era we live in. Rampage. Look at Ryan Garcia and Teofimo's people. Sometimes you gotta stay on code. Sometimes you need loyalty, man. Where's your loyalty? That's the problem with the colors. No loyalty. Now they're breaking up against each other. It's Devin Haney people versus Tank people. We all ain't in this together. It's breaking up just as it is in the real world. You have the Moors. How can you be a Moor and you're a Hebrew Israelite? How can you be a Hebrew Israelite and you're American Indian? How can you be American Indian and you're from Africa? Rather than come together, they want to argue about who's who. Rather than come together and box and they want to argue about Devin Haney and Tank. Now you got colored stars like Rampage putting his 2 cents in. But if that would have been one of his kids, somebody would have cheated them like that. I don't know if he would have felt that way. But I said he's not being loyal to the soil, but maybe he is being loyal to the soil because he's supporting the PED people. Because I believe he got popped a couple times. I ain't gonna say a couple times, he got popped. But that's what's been going on in boxing. It's a wild circus. It's a color inside of the lines on paper, but color outside of the lines with your actions. You know, that's how it is. Do as you please, but on paper, we have rules and regulations. A big jungle, man. It's a big wild jungle. And with the Rampage thing, this shows, sometimes I want to slip out my mouth and say this generation of people is different. But when you say this generation, it's like when the older folks looked at my generation. We can't say it's this generation because it's like we're looking down on these younger bucks and saying it's them. It's not. Look Rampage. He's older than I am. Rampage up there. It's people our own age acting like this. It's our own people. When the Migos and every other race, the Caucasians, everybody else want to take a break off of down in the brothers. Guess who's down in the brothers the most? The brothers. They still in overtime. It's sad, man. It's very sad. But it's a little peep at what's going on in the real world. This is real life. But anyways, this is Gold Boxing. Subscribe, comment,